a Medicare age couple tell me that they're spending more than $10,000 a year, and it just went up by $2,600. That this is insanity. So what the concierge model is for a flat fee, your doc is your doc. You don't have to pay your insurance premiums because we're not submitting things to the insurance company. Okay? That's right, it's almost retainer. But there are some models across the country that go all the way from about $2,000 and up $5,000 or $6,000 per individual, depending upon the geographical area that you are. The things that I have actually be in front of some business administration people right now is as a concierge model, for $3,000 is the figure I put to it, $3,000, I would be your doctor. You can come in when you need to come in, you have the care that you need to have, and the only thing that it doesn't cover is things like catastrophic hospitalization, things like that. But otherwise, your service is rendered right there. Forget the insurance, forget them what they're going to be reimbursed or not reimbursed, forget your premiums, that kind of thing. The concierge model is someone, I don't know who created it, but it is a model to try to get it back to the patient-physician relationship and to forget the craziness of the insurance companies. No one in the community right now is doing that. I am seriously considering that. I'm also on a physician advisory board. I see you're answering the question. I'm on a physician advisory board that is headed up by some businesses right now, the biggest businesses in our community. Whirlpool has part of this physician advisory board, but what they're looking at is how do we, the businesses, get doctors here, because they can't get their executives in here if they can't provide health care. Okay? And Whirlpool, and Pastor Ron used to work at Whirlpool, and there's some of you that I know who've been in Whirlpool, they put a stop on bringing in 20 executive people this past year because they can't find insurance. They can't find doctors. So they're looking at it. Anyway, this physician advisory committee is a committee of businesses that are saying, what do we do to attract physicians? And that's where the concierge model really kind of came to our community. As I said, you know what, I might be able to offer some understanding and benefit for that. So yeah, the concierge model is one that is beginning to catch on.
How do we find you in the future?
I'm going to hide and be evasive. I don't want to be found. My clinic is right down the road from here, 2 miles from here. Rockford Medical Center is my clinic. Okay. Some of these people in here will have contacts, and actually, if I might have a couple cards in my car, but if not, there's people in the room that know how. Yes.
I'm going to cover that about months later, but I also wanted to make a comment on jumping here to the cards. And a couple others mentioned it too. I know that there are people in this room that have come across this, every one of you probably have, where, you start to talk to somebody, I don't want to talk politics, and you don't want to make somebody mad, you don't want your kid mad, you don't want your neighbor mad. We've got to stop that. We have to not care if we make someone mad. Too bad. I don't care anymore. I told a friend tonight who's always complaining. I told her when she called me today. I said, you need to help us. She did the one thing. I don't get it, I said, you complain more than anybody I know, but you don't do anything about it. I said, I don't care if you like me, Judy. I don't care anymore. I said, you can hate me. My kids can hate me. My husband can hate me. I don't care. I'm not going to shut up. And as Sherry said the last time, it's her Janet talks to vegetables. I won't sit down and I won't talk to anybody or anything.
Guys, I just so reiterate what she said. Well, like I said, I was not, maybe I should say, was not a political player, okay? But I think our nation is where we're at because we have been far too passive, especially as Christians. We've kind of done the nice thing, but we've been asleep at the wheel. They took us by storm. Where were we? What were we doing?
They took us in financially.
Well, no, okay. And, so I agree. I mean, I'm at the place, political person or not, here I am.
And I know that we could stay here till midnight, really, discussing all of these things. And I really appreciate the input that everyone has. Don't get me wrong. My phone number is on the mission statement. My email address is on the mission statement. You can contact me anytime between now and the next meeting. We have a planning meeting. Do you want to be involved in figuring out how do we take back this country? Let me know. We've been begging since we started this in 2009. How do we do it? Who's gonna step up? People will come to me and say, well, I think you ought to be doing this, and I think you ought to be doing that. And then I say, okay, would you like to do it? And they go, huh? Me? Oh no, I can't do that. It's time. We've all got to take responsibility. So I love your passion, and I get where you're coming from. I totally get where you're coming from. This has been going on for a long time, and many of us have been asleep. And here comes his business card.
Where you need me.
All right. He's gonna be my bodyguard. I got dibs. On him. Oh, well, Cindy and I were a team. So let's get back to where we were. We were talking about the next thing up is Obamacare and Pashoka care. It's imploding. It's imploding in front of our very eyes. How do we take advantage of that? So.
Well, as some of you heard in my campaign announcement speech, I am experienced with the Medicaid program, and I'm not going to go into stories here. I hope you'll come to some of my speeches in the future so you can hear. I will tell you, I just printed out the waiver that the state of Michigan just submitted to the federal government for the Medicaid expansion program, and I had to kind of chuckle because they're going to charge the Medicaid patients for an emergency room visit because they think the charge is going to keep people from the emergency room. You know what the charge is?
$5.
$3. They're also going to bribe doctors by a higher reimbursement rate. That's what they're talking about, whether they actually do it or not. But that's in the plan to bribe them with a higher reimbursement rate for so long to get doctors to actually accept Medicaid. And of course that will drop off after a couple of years. So then you've got all these people in the system who are stuck. And that's what happens with the exchanges. They put their income level in the exchange and they're automatically kicked over to Medicaid. They have no choice in the matter. And they cannot get out of it. I heard people call up on the radio. They said they cannot get out of it. They do not want to be on Medicaid, but they can't get out of it. And try to find a doctor. As a nurse, that's what I had to do, find doctors that accepted Medicaid. It was impossible. And that is what is going to happen. There's going to be more and more people kicked into the Medicaid program with fewer and fewer doctors. And where are they going to go? To the emergency room, which was what the whole reason that Mr. Pashoka gives his reason for voting for Medicaid expansion was to stop people from going to the emergency room. So it's just going to increase it even more. So I just want to read something real quick here. Maybe it will give you some encouragement. I just printed it off before I left this afternoon. I don't know if you're familiar with Larry Sabato. Sabado, I guess his name. He's on Fox News frequently. He's a pollster. And he's done polling right now for the Republican Party and for the Tea Party. So this is kind of a wrap-up of this. It's just a couple paragraphs. I'm not going to read you the whole poll. But part of the wrap-up says, what makes the Tea Party so challenging for the Republican Party today is not just that Tea Party supporters have opinions that are well to the right of the overall electorate, but that they now comprise the most politically active segment of the GOP electoral base. Tea Party supporters made up the vast majority of Republicans who gave money to the party or its candidates, attended rallies, or worked on a campaign. In fact, over half of Republicans attending rallies and over 60% of those working on campaigns were strong Tea Party supporters.
How many people worked on the Republican campaigns before in this room?
These results indicate why it will be very difficult for mainstream Republican leaders and business groups to successfully challenge Tea Party incumbents, and why such efforts could even backfire on the party establishment. We all heard about Justin Amash. The establishment is challenging him in the business community. Tea Party supporters now dominate the activist base of the Republican Party. In 2012, they made up nearly 2/3 of those who reported voting in Republican presidential primaries. And in 2014, they will well make up an even larger majority of those voting in what are likely to be very low turnout congressional primaries. Some might argue that the recent special election GOP primary in Alabama's 1st congressional district might augur well for the Republican establishment, as the establishment-backed candidate defeated the Tea Party-backed one. However, it was a very narrow 5-point win that saw overwhelming resources, that means money, put at the establishment candidate's disposal. If anything, this survey data suggests that a more realistic scenario in next year's primaries is that more establishment Republican incumbents will be unseated by Tea Party challengers. To go look at this whole poll. I think it's in the Daily Beast. So.
Okay. All right, thank you so much, Cindy. We've got a couple of ladies that are going to pass around some clipboards with some pens on them. Mary Sue and Sue, I think, are going to do that. What we're asking for is people that are willing to be our boots on the ground for our candidates. And we have all of our candidates here tonight. Cindy Duran is running as state representative for the 79th district against Al Pashoka. Jim Walker is here this evening. He's running in the 78th district against Jim Walker. Jim Bussler is in the background, and he is running for Congress against run up. So we're passing around a sheet, and if you are willing to help us in any way, shape, or form, sign your name, please. Whether that means making phone calls, we don't know what it means yet. We're trying to figure out a strategy, a plan. What we do know, what we learned, Obama won the last election because of boots on the ground. It wasn't anything other than boots on the ground. He had people going door to door. He had people registering people to vote. It wasn't a lot of, he had big money, but he had boots on the ground. And that's the only way we're gonna beat these people, is by boots on the ground, using social media, getting the word out, and not shutting up. We cannot shut up. We cannot be silent. We are in the process of juggling 3 candidates, so it's a lot of fun. But we do have a campaign kickoff scheduled for Cindy Duran. And, you know, we need money, period. There is no way that we are going to be able to go up against the Pashoka/Upton machine, because that's what we're up against. So we're going to need boots on the ground, and we're going to need money for our candidates. I'll tell you what I do. Anytime the RNC calls me and they want my money, I tell them, I have to tell you what. I'm giving my money locally to candidates that are conservative. I will no longer send this money to you to and not listen to we the people. Not doing it. Not gonna happen anymore. So, I'm gonna pass this out. It's Thursday, November 21st. It's gonna be at the Players Bar and Grill from 5:30 to 7:30. The cost is $30 per person. Appetizers, soft drinks, and we're gonna have scrumptious cake by Mari Krebs. If you've never had Mari Krebs cake, that alone is the reason to come. I can tell you that right now. So, if somebody, all right, Sherry's gonna help pass them out. And then I'm sure we're gonna have one scheduled for Jim. So,
Can we
you know,
get a cheat sheet of our candidates?
It's all over my
Because
internet.
like I said, we talked to a lot of people, can we get a cheat sheet on, you know, issues, opposing issues and stuff like that? Because when you're doing 20 news articles a day, it's hard to juggle all the information, you know? So if I have a sheet that I can be 100% factual on, it helps when I'm, you know, communicating to other people.
yeah,
My stuff will be ready next Thursday night for the thing,
Okay.
so, but I'll be bringing it as
So-
we go here.
we're working on that.
All right,
We
all
we
right.
are working on that.
And we all have websites too.
I can't speak for where Jim stands on that, if you've got literature yet that has your talking points and, or the other Jim, but I understand it's very.
Yeah, you know, when you gotta give it 100% factual, you look
Exactly.
uncredited.
Yeah, we're still working on that, so. And I understand that some of you may need to leave, but we do have some other, business that we would like to take care of. Well, we've got, AJ Warner needs to come up and talk to us.
I can talk from here, I'm plenty loud, you know. Real quick, before you guys do head out, please mark on your calendars that December 5th is the holiday reception for the Berrien County GOP. That is from 6 to 9. Our guest speaker is going to be Dave Ajima. It is $40. I know, that's very exciting. Nothing like having a vet come and speak for you. I mean, it's just...
And he is one of us.
He
Yes,
is a wonderful man, he is worth it, plus the fellowship, of course. It's a $40 per person, it's $300 price rate for a table. We are still looking for silent auction items. My information is on this sheet of paper. If you know of anybody or you yourself are willing to contribute items for the silent auction, please get in touch with me. I'll be more than happy to work on that with you. We already have some wonderful donations that have been made, but considering this is a fundraiser, the more the merrier. That means the more people here and the more items we have for the auction. It's heavy hors d'oeuvres, cash